A woman I'd never met walked up to me at my father's wake, holding a photograph of him as a young man, and said, "I think you might have been my father too." I didn't know what to say. I just stared at the photo. My father, maybe 25, standing in front of a house I didn't recognize, decades before I was born. My aunt, standing beside me, went pale in a way I'd never seen from her before, and said, "Too quickly, that's not possible. You should leave." My name is Mia. This is the story of my sister, 12 years of letters that never reached us, and the family member who made sure of that on purpose. My father, Ernesto, passed 3 weeks ago, after a long decline that gave us time to say most of what needed saying, or so I thought. I grew up the only daughter in a house of careful routines Sunday Mass, my mother's cooking, my Aunt Rosa living 2 streets over and showing up for absolutely everything. I didn't know any of this mattered yet, standing at that wake with a stranger's photograph in my hands. I know it now because of a name Rosa said too fast, and a face across from me with my father's exact eyes. I'll get to what my aunt actually knew. First, you should understand how impossible this seemed, standing in a room full of people who'd known my father my whole life and never once mentioned another child. My mother, when I found her in the crowd, looked at the woman's face and went silent for almost a full minute. The woman's name was Grace. She said her birth mother had a relationship with my father before he married my mother, before I existed at all, and placed her for adoption as an infant. She said she'd found our family through an adoption registry 6 years ago. She said she'd written to my father this address at least once a year since. I'd never seen a single one of those letters. The first sign something was wrong, my mother's silence had a specific quality, not shock exactly recognition, arriving late. The second, my Aunt Rosa hadn't asked a single question since Grace showed up. Not "who are you?" Just, immediately, "you should leave." The third, when I asked my mother directly if she'd known, she looked at Rosa before she looked at me. "Rosa," my mother finally said, "did you know about this?" My aunt didn't answer. She picked up her purse and walked out of the wake instead, which was, in its own way, the clearest answer any of us could have asked for. I found Rosa at her house 2 days later, still repeating some version of "that woman is not your sister" every time I brought it up. I asked Grace if she still had copies of the letters. She did drafts, saved on her computer, 1 a year for 6 years, always to our address. The one Rosa had a spare key to. I confronted Rosa with the dates. 6 letters, 6 years. I asked if she remembered any mail from an unfamiliar name during any of them. She was quiet long enough that I already knew the answer. "I threw them away," she finally said. "The first one, right after it nearly ended your parents' marriage. I decided the next ones weren't worth the risk. I decided that every year. For 6 years, without asking anyone. That wasn't your decision to make," I said. "Someone had to protect this family," she said. "I did what your parents were too afraid to do themselves." What Rosa admitted next is the part I still haven't fully made peace with. The first letter hadn't actually been intercepted before my father saw it. He'd read it. He'd wanted to respond, to meet Grace, to make it, right after 20-some years of not knowing how. Rosa convinced him not to told him it would only hurt my mother, hurt me. Unravel a family that didn't need unraveling over a mistake from a lifetime ago. My father, grieving his own father at the time, let it go. He never knew the letters kept coming after that. Rosa simply stopped showing him. My father spent the last 6 years of his life believing Grace had stopped trying, that she'd moved on. Because she never stopped trying at all. He died 3 weeks ago without ever getting the chance my aunt convinced him once wasn't worth taking. My mother didn't speak to Rosa for the first month after the funeral. I don't think she's fully decided yet whether that silence is permanent. Grace and I talked almost every day that month carefully, both of us aware how strange it is to build closeness with someone you're related to and share no childhood with. She showed me the 6 drafted letters eventually, no anger in any of them. Just a woman asking, patiently, once a year, whether the family she'd found might have room for her. Reading them made Rosa's decision feel even smaller than it already did. I confronted Rosa one more time at a family dinner she almost didn't attend. "You didn't just keep a secret," I told her. "You decided for 6 years that my father should die without meeting his own daughter. That wasn't protecting this family. That was deciding whose family counted." "I did what I thought was right," she said, the same line she'd repeated since the wake. "You did what was easiest for you," I said. "Those aren't the same thing, and I think you've always known that." Rosa hasn't been invited to family gatherings since. Nobody's formally cut her off. She still shows up sometimes, uninvited, to the edges of things. But she traded the closeness, permanently, for 6 letters she decided weren't worth the risk. Grace came to Thanksgiving this year. My mother cried twice once at a memory Grace shared. Once, quieter, when Grace called her house home out loud for the first time. It's been 5 months since that wake. Grace and I are close now, in the deliberate way you build closeness with someone you should have grown up knowing, and didn't. I visit my father's grave more than I used to. I tell him things now, mostly about Grace, about the version of this story he never got to see finish. I think about those 6 unsent replies, more than I probably should. Not dramatic. Just ordinary. A woman asking, patiently, year after year, to be let in. My aunt spent 6 years deciding that wasn't worth answering. I've spent the 5 months since deciding, every single day, that it always was.